So, hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the IE Informer. And this is the podcast. I want to say right up front that it is not live. It is recorded, as we often like to do this on Tuesday, recorded. I know some of you guys want us to do live, but one day maybe. For right now, it's just kind of recorded because Donovan and I be having a whole lot of stuff to do on Tuesdays. And so, as y'all can see, we got started late today. But anyway, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. So today we are going to be talking about relationships, as we always do. I'm sure we'll probably get a little bit heated today. Last couple of weeks, Donovan and I have been kind of mellow, right? But I don't know. Maybe we'll be mellow again this week. Only time will tell, right? So anyway, Donovan, what say you?
What say me is welcome to the Demetra K podcast. You guys, great to have you back. Those of you guys that are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Do us a favor. I know a lot of podcasters out there say, oh, it only takes $1. Please donate, do this. You see our Venmo, PayPal, checks, balances, Cash App things scrolling at the bottom there. But what's even more important than that is hit that like and like button. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing. It just lets the algorithm know that this is a show you guys are interested in, and it just helps the algorithm as well. But Demetra drops a lot of great knowledge throughout the week, so become a member and subscribe. That's also something you can do. Subscribing does help the algorithm as well, and it gets that message out there. Also, if you are going to hit that check mark, please share on your platforms. Let's get into this because, I'm usually Demetra's kryptonite, but today I just decided to revert to my local name, the IE Informer.
That's because he know better. He know better. That's why he changed it. I'm just playing. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. This first video, I actually saw it first on Donovan's page, and I was like, I guess we'll have to talk about it on my show. So I'm going to play the video and you guys give me your opinion. And I'm sure this will be very interesting. Here we go.
To get married to an American woman is because most American women are wired for divorce. Many of them come into your life just to divorce you. They are okay with going through a divorce. They are not willing to take any hit. Any little thing. I'm about to go to the car. I'm about to go to court and get a divorce with you right now. I ain't playing with you, boy. I don't want you no more. I'm going to check out this relationship. I do not want to go through that. Most American women live on fast food. Checkers, KFC, Popeye chicken, and, McDonald's. I do not want to go through having to buy food every day outside. This is one of the reasons why I would prefer to get married to an African woman, because African women, they have been trained to make food in the house. They have been trained to stay in the relationships no matter what happens. It's very difficult for an African woman to get a divorce.
Donovan?
Did you hear what he said? The key word that was a trigger word to all Black women out there. Trained. What trained? We ain't no animals. Trained? How dare he say that? We ain't no animal. I can stand on my own. I don't need him. I have my own father. I make my own money. I got my own education. I can do that. Trained. Just because he said the word trained. But in most traditional countries that are very strongly patriarchal, which most countries are, I ask this question all the time, Demetra. Every week I ask it. Show me a country that is maternal. That is a maternal country led by women in general, the culture, everything. There's nowhere on this earth where there isn't a paternal country. So the key word there was trained. So women got triggered. Once they heard the word trained, they stopped listening. Now, as somebody who's coming into my country with an observation that is different from what he's used to, I will have to agree. You will find out women younger than us do not cook like they used to cook. Right now, I could tell a girl, make me some red beans and rice. Let's say she's between the ages of 30 and below. She would not know how to make it. I tell her to make me some, just general greens and just the general stuff, the basic stuff. They can't make it because They have been taught to be independent, and it's easier, just like their hair, to go and buy it and bring it home. I mean, from what he's saying in his observation, I will agree. The issues of what women can bring to the table and is what is traditionally their role is doing certain things like that. I'm not saying men can't do it, because I know how to cook. I know how to do those things, and I do that because I don't have a woman. However, this system, I agree with him also. He also notices this system is incentivized for women to get divorced. A man can work all his life and then half the money's gone because he married the wrong woman. So that's true. So I don't see anything that he said observation-wise that is not true. Because you go to those other countries, that doesn't happen.
This is how heavy it's going to be today, okay? You see it in my markers in my pen. I was trying to open it with my teeth, but I forgot I got braces on. I couldn't do it. But I got to outline something real quick. Ooh. Y'all know what?
See, fellas, they're triggered. Just the word trained triggers them.
I got to leave my markers out because I feel like this is going to be one for the records. Okay. Just to reiterate, this very fine African gentleman, what he said was, African American women are more divorce prone, right? Like we are easily wanting to get divorced. Then he also went on to say that we like Popeyes, KFC, McDonald's. We tend to like to go buy a lot of fast foods. And then he transitioned to saying African women are trained to cook. They're just, basically trained to do their certain things or whatever. Then he says they stay in, and he said they being African women, they stay in relationships no matter what. Okay, he said that. Now, I listened to you, an African American man, and then you agree with him, said that we take issue with the word trained. And I don't necessarily take issue with the word trained, but I have a question for you, Donovan. And how should African American women be trained? What should we be trained to do? That's my one part to my two-part question. What should we be trained to do?
Number one, you guys should be trained to be women, play your part. Number one. And what your part is, your number one job is to bring children to this earth. Number one. Your number two job is to support and be the centric of the family, meaning, keeping that man strong and nurturing the children. That's number two. Number three, to be a helpmate. Number three, be a helpmate, not a hindrance. And I can go on and on and on about what your role is to do on this earth. You guys are not made to be out there working and sweating and stressing out in what happens out there in the real world. That's what men are built for. But you got some women that actually think men and women are equal.
Okay, my next question is what should men be trained to do?
Well, men are already trained as we are. We're trained to be leaders. We're trained to be advisors. We're trained to be workers. We're trained to be protectors. We're trained to, procreate the earth, of course, as well as women. That's one of the things that we're supposed to do. And as well as nurture the young men to take our place and to become workers.
So women are trained to have children, support the family, be a helpmeet. I guess she's not there for herself at all. She's just like an ass. You know how the donkeys, they go out into the field and then they plow and then they bring them back into the barn after they've been rolled hard and put away wet. I mean, that's kind of what I'm hearing really from the African man and the African American man, because I didn't hear anything of any terms of endearment for this woman or any of that other stuff. She is there as a, I don't want to use the word slave, but it's just like what y'all both kind of described is like on his end, no matter what, she won't leave the divorce. And we know that matter what tends to be with him tricking off. Maybe he's losing jobs and she's supposed to just endure it all. Okay. And then on the man's side, he's supposed to be a leader, advisor, worker, protector, and other things. And it's like, but because y'all very vehement in saying that the black woman is not doing those things that you just described. But can you tell me that there are just as many black men doing what you described?
Okay, we've gotten this debate before. Again, in everything that I've described, when did I say he had his time? Never once did I say he had his time. Just like I said, she didn't have her time. I didn't say he had time to go to the club. I didn't say he had to do that. I didn't say she had time to go to the club and be for herself. We all have our role here, right? So when it comes to the man, in regards to what we have to do, our job is how it's supposed to do. And the reason why in the modern time we don't have as many men being real men is because we've raised 2 generations of men being led by single female households. And that's just the thing of it. And when you don't have a father there in the home, not only does the son suffer, the daughters suffer as well.
So these are your descriptions. I just went off of what you said. But the question I asked is, can you say that there are a copious amount of brothers that are leading, advising, working, and protecting?
Yes, I can say that. Now, the guys that are doing that, I would say about 25% of the population in America, I would say actually are doing that. The majority of us, no, they're not doing that. Why? Because they've taken on feminist traits.
So in the same vein and breath, you and that African Negro sit up and talk about what women are and are not trained to do. But yet you can also admit that the majority of men are not doing what you described. And so it's like, reason why I'm asking this, I'm just trying to break it down slowly, because I hear this demand on what the woman should be trained to do. But then who is she supposed to do that for? Because when I hear the African man saying the African woman won't leave no matter what, and then I hear your description, and you said that if there's not a lot of men doing what you described, who is she supposed to be doing these things for? Just any old man? Because you guys, especially in the manosphere, rattle off a lot how, don't be expecting no man, that's making $100,000. So if we know that there's not those men, and then you even said the men that can't lead, advise, work, protect, that's a very small amount. Who is she supposed to be doing that for?
The answer is simple. You've answered your thing for itself. Everybody has their idea of a person that they want to be with and what a model is. So if you've got that 30% of men that is doing that, that is the man she's supposed to be doing it for. You're not supposed to be out here doing it for Ray Ray and Pookie when that guy ends up with nothing. Do you see what I'm saying? You got to be able to get out there and compete. Unfortunately, that's how it is, ladies. If you want a high value man, you're going to have to compete for that high value man. The same way a man who wants a Beyonce or whatever his girl is, he's going to have to compete for that girl. And unfortunately, in a lot of in the competition, there's winners or losers. And that's just how it rolls.
Let me tell y'all something about Demetra K. Well, not KKK, but Demetra K. I ain't competing for no Negro. Okay. Now, loosely, I can say, yeah, you might want to, gussy up a little bit, but as far as I'm the better woman because here's my resume. Nah, because I don't. It's out of order for a woman to choose a man. So that man needs to choose me, and I'm not competing for him over no woman. I don't care who this man is. If it is El DeBarge, Idris Elba, or whoever, I'm not going to compete over that man. But let me ask you this too. You said some other things as far as, like some of the younger women, you said if you invite them over or whatever, they don't know how to cook and all this other stuff. Well, did you ask them if they knew how to cook before you brought them home?
Well, no, that, in a conversation, even if I met an older woman, that isn't the first thing that comes up in conversation. Hey, by the way, do you know how to cook? No, you invite them over to vet them, to see if they can cook, to see what they can do. What kind of eye do they have?
So what is it like? So you have like a top chef competition that I'm bringing
Well,
you home?
Well, no, because Top Chef would mean I'd have to have more than one woman there, so it wouldn't be a Top Chef situation, which I wouldn't mind more than one woman. But unfortunately, I can only bring that one woman there, right? And so you're sitting there, whatever, and she says, "Oh, I'm going to cook this or whatever." You say, "Hey, let's cook this, whatever." And I remember Demetra, and many nights during those all-nighters at the base close up. You go over to the Denny's, everybody gets tired of that. I used to tell people, "Oh, let's go to my house real quick," right? And so you're up there talking and having a good time as we used to do. And then it's breakfast time. And so you look at some of the girls and you're like, okay, it's breakfast. Of course, it's automatically assumed the girls are going to cook breakfast. And then you can, from there, where I used to look at chicks that could cook versus ones that couldn't. And big ups to a lot of women that were from the South. They knew how to cook. I mean, they were doing it up. But it's also a vetting process. The ones that couldn't doesn't mean they're out of the running, but that's something that as a man, I'm going to be kind of weary of. Like, okay, well, she can't cook, but what else could she possibly be good at? So there's got to be a vetting process somehow. But that doesn't come up in everyday conversation.
Because that's what I'm saying. You mean, you talking about you invite them home and then you later on find out they can't cook. I'm thinking if you're trying to get to know this woman, that's some of the stuff you should be asking. How do you feel about cooking? And oh, by the way, sweet lady, if you become my woman, you ain't got to worry about paying no bills. You ain't got, you don't have to work. You ain't got to bring no money in here. So that I'm going to be doing that. Can you maintain the house? Can I look forward to a couple of, meals a day or whatever the case is? And are you going to be sweet to me and submissive? Now, of course, we talking about your wife. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're not having that conversation with her and you're just bringing her home and then, you for 2 minutes and then you find out, oh, she can't cook. Whose fault is that really?
Oh my God. You got to get over this 2-minute thing. I don't know who you've been dealing with. But anyway. No, but that's part of the vetting process. Isn't that part of the courting process? I mean, you just can't meet somebody in one night and know everything that they can do and what they can't do. So it's part of the courting process. It's part of the vetting process. And I would caution anybody that is getting with a woman, at least back in our day, D, and the generations before us, there was a courting process. It took time. You didn't, if you got lucky and got with the chick the first night or, and you had a one night stand, which I've never had, good for you. But the point is, and of course, if I ever did get in a one night stand, that's not wifey material. I know that. But that's part of the vetting process. But now with this day of Tinder and hookup culture, this is how these people are rolling, and they're getting in bed with people and coming up with babies with people that don't even know how to basically take care of themselves, much less a baby.
Oh, sorry about that. My microphone is stuck under my thing. Oh well. I mean, yeah, this vetting process. But I don't know. I just picked up on what you said. In regards to, bringing these women home. So it don't sound like there's a whole lot of vetting process, because my thing is, it don't sound like it's very reasonable to bring a woman home. And then he also said too, these young women, he said 30, 40, you did clarify that. But I would even say for a man, I don't know, maybe it's me, but man in his 50s, you with a 30-some-year-old woman. Yeah, there's some 30-year-old women that know how to cook and all that other stuff. But as I always say, y'all older dusty cats, y'all want a younger one. y'all want a young woman to do older women's stuff. Y'all can't have the best of both worlds unless she was raised by a Glodine or something like that, and all of that. And then, yeah, so it's like, I always say, y'all get these young women to talk about what they can and cannot do. It's like, yeah, they can't probably do a whole lot. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but as far as this gentleman, yeah, he's off his rocker, trying to basically compare. And if I was an African woman, I would be insulted. He talking about how they're trained to stay in relationships, trained to stay in relationships no matter what. It's like, see, that sounds like some real F-boy stuff right there. No matter, it reminds me of those infomercials you used to see on the pots and pans, the Teflon. Oh, they sustain all kinds of stuff. You could scratch them, scrape them, burn them, and bend them, and they'll still do what they're supposed to do. he described a Teflon pan or a pot,
See, but you got to remember, you're thinking as an American woman with your American values. In some of these countries, a transaction is done between the parents. And some of these kids and some of these young people are, what do you call that? They're wed at a young age or promised to each other at a young age. And a lot of cows or whatever, the material stuff is connected. So it's a business arrangement. So when he says that they don't leave, they can't, because technically they are in a contracted marriage. And so you got to think about it in the aspect of where they come from. It's a contracted marriage. She's in it to win it. And that's the bottom line. Because let's say, and I'm very sure every contract, there's always a exclusion or a way to get out of it. But that exclusion would be for her father to lose 30, 40 cows as a penalty if it doesn't work out. So 9 times out of 10, that father is going to tell that daughter, you better get right, because that's just how it is.
Yeah, okay, but get right. But I see, I'm one of those people I can kind of read between what you're saying. And he says, no matter what. So what's this no matter what? Now, I would love for him to clarify that. Does that mean, oh, honey, I lost my job, it's going to be lean times around here? Or does it mean no matter if I go off and trick off with, 5 other women, or, I don't treat you right? Like, what is this no matter what? Because, see, that's concerning for me. And as I said, if I was an African lady, from the motherland, I'd have been like, can you clarify what this no matter what is? Because it sounds like you want these women to just put up with any and everything, and because I think divorce, I think the generation now, they tap out of and divorce for, things that you probably should be able to work through. But to say that these African women won't divorce you no matter what, I think that's very telling to me.
Well, like I said, they are steeped in their tradition and their culture. If we weren't broken up by the master, we would probably be still in our traditions and our cultures. But we have a culture to where you could leave a marriage on irreconcilable differences just because you want out. And that isn't what your vow said. It said for richer or for poor, for sick or in health. You've got some people, men and women, that will leave a person right there on their deathbed when they need them the most. You have people that will leave somebody when they lose all their fortune. This is the culture that we have here in America, and these are the facts. In those other countries, when you're married for life, and they mean that stuff. So, I mean, again.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
I always tell people the American way is not the almighty way. Did you guys hear anything that I said prior to this?
No. Yeah,
okay, because it seems like
10 seconds.
Oh, okay. Because see, something just muted my thing for some reason. But anyway, we've got to take our American hat off and start respecting these other countries' cultures. We spent 20 years in Afghanistan supposedly fighting for the rights of young girls to go to school just to walk out. And in 3 years, you haven't heard one damn thing from any of these damn feminists about the women that were left over there and now are kicked out of school by the Taliban and don't have any rights. See, so we got to start minding our own business and respecting other people's cultures.
That was probably white women who did that. I don't know how many sisters lined up for that, to be telling the Taliban or the women over there in the other countries what to do. But yeah, I'm gonna just flat out say that fella there that we would just watch, he is full of the stuff. You know what I mean? And then talk about African American women are trained to be eaten out and stuff. It's like, man, see that the problem is this. And I want to know, has he dated any African American women? You know what I mean? Is he over here? Is he in Africa? Like, what's really the deal? But the other problem is that a lot of men date women that buy a lot of food out and don't cook and all that other stuff. So it's like y'all complaining about the women y'all go for. You know what I mean? It's like,
we didn't go for them. They fooled us. They bamboozled us. We assume that women know how to cook. We assume that.
Now they didn't
I'm trying to help the fellas out.
They didn't bamboozle you, brother. They bambootied you. That's what they did. Y'all saw the booty. Y'all didn't care if she could cook. And then once you got, what she had to give, and she was like, I don't know how to cook. Shit, we better go out to eat. And then 9 times out of 10, y'all was like, oh, okay, baby, where do you want to go eat? You didn't say, well, I don't really want to be with no woman who want to just eat out all the time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm calling.
Well, speaking for myself, I can tell you when I was in the DR and I was dating younger girls, whatever, I specifically asked them if they can cook. And I said a peanut butter sandwich and pouring cereal is not cooking. I was very specific about it. And I would ask them, what do you cook? How did you learn to cook? Who taught you that? And if they couldn't answer those questions, it's a wrap.
How old were these girls, Donovan?
I'd say 34, 33.
What about the girls that I met?
Oh, you mean the Mo Hags? Oh, man. They should have been, what, in their 50s? Possibly.
Stop lying.
What, you mean like Maddie?
You know who I'm talking to. Who did I meet?
Mari could cook when you guys left at the Airbnb. She made something.
Hold up. Wait.
Mari made something from scratch. It was like a Cheeto. It was mac and cheese type stuff. It was really good. She put some hot dogs in there. All kinds of
Cheetos and hot dogs.
Yeah, it was like a Cheeto. It was like a Cheeto looking thing. It was like with the spiral noodles and stuff. It was really weird.
They call it really top ramen. They call it top ramen, brother. They call it top ramen.
No, it wasn't top ramen. It wasn't top ramen. I think it was Barrio Bistro. But it was really good though. I was surprised she made it. She made it from scratch. It was surprised.
Right. She put some Cheetos and hot dogs and top ramen together. That's
what it looked like to me. When I got done with my American thinking, it reminded me of hot Cheetos, whatever it was. Because what's that spice that they use that's really red? She based it with it was good, but that's what it reminded me.
Tahini or something like that.
Yeah, it was. But that's what it reminded me of looking at it. It like a hot Cheetos or something. But it was really good though. I was surprised that she made that.
So. How was you surprised? All you got to do is open a bag of hot Cheetos and the top ramen, pour it in some hot water, mix it around, chop up some hot dogs, and add the seasoning packet on top. See, that's the bullshit.
But that was the thing. But that was the thing. There was no Cheetos because I don't eat Cheetos. So how did she do that?
So basically, this is.
And look, I wasn't getting with her for her cooking, okay?
Exactly. Exactamundo. I didn't hear not no nutrient on that delicious plate that she served you. I ain't hear nothing about no vegetables. None of that. I just heard salt.
A couple nights later, because remember the supermarket was down the street. Remember we walked to the supermarket? We went a couple nights later.
Yes. And Marty did not get in the kitchen one time when we was there.
No. With you guys, after you left, we went down and got some vegetables and stuff, some asparagus, all that stuff. We had a really good time.
So who was cooking before we left?
Me. Because y'all helpers were just sitting on y'all asses, taking pictures, lounging. Something like that.
See how you lying? You're lying. What I want to say, y'all, that my daughter and I cooked. Okay, his Dominican mommy was walking around looking cute, and they was. I had to excuse myself a couple of times to go throw up. But that's what, no shade. She's like, I don't know, Donovan, you lying, talking about she was 30. She wasn't. But, go off, brother. But
wait, what was she, 28? Well, I think she was 28 or 32.
That's
Was she
see,
28? Was she
listen,
28?
she was 26.
No, she wasn't.
She was younger than
She wasn't
Deanna.
26.
She's younger than Deanna. Deanna
Okay,
was
yeah.
28 at the time.
Yeah, that's true. So, but she wasn't 26. I know that she wasn't 26.
Okay, 27.
Okay, I'll meet you halfway, maybe 27, but it wasn't 26.
But you know what though? I ain't mad at Marty. That's what most 27-year-old hot girls do. They make Negroes top ramen, Cheetos, and hot dogs. That's what they do.
And notice I am not with Marty anymore.
I mean, I'm just saying, I ain't mad. She was a very nice young woman.
Nice.
Very nice.
Saved our butts a couple times.
But guess what? If she would have cooked and tried to serve me some top ramen, hot dogs, and Cheetos, remember that part on The Color Purple when Mister tried to cook for Suge and she threw the plate back at him? You trying to kill me?
Oh man.
As the older people say, bless her heart. Bless her heart.
Bless her heart.
Anyway, let's move on to this next topic. I think this will be very interesting. This is from a woman that my daughter says she's seen quite a bit on TikTok. I'm giving relationship advice. And so here it is.
Out there cooking and cleaning and making your boyfriends giant plates of food and paying half the bills, but still have no ring. Ask yourself, why are you doing all these things that wives barely even do? And they got a ring. Okay, now think about this. There are more girlfriends out here cooking and cleaning than there are wives. I'm going to tell you why, because they already got the ring. So they don't have to cook and clean. Sprinkle. Unless they choose to. But let me tell you, cooking and cleaning is not going to get you engaged. Cooking and cleaning does not get you married. They don't need to marry you because you're already cooking and cleaning. So why would they need to marry you if you're already doing what they think you're supposed to do when you get married?
Donovan.
That is so sad. Here's a woman giving out bad advice to other women, and other women are falling for it. Obviously, she's a feminist. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Number one, she's not married. So we know that whatever she's doing ain't working for her. So anybody that listens to her, she's got the looks or whatever she thinks she's got, but she ain't got no man. And I'm going to tell you, a real man, fundamentally, that's what we're looking for, to see if you can do those things. Doesn't mean you're going to do it. Like that saying, just because you can doesn't mean you should. But the fact of the matter is, when the water meets the well, can you do it? A man wants a mother for his children. He wants to settle down to a good choice, as my friend Demetra always says. But you have all these feminists out here, and that lady looks like, she's a little bit older. Young ladies, stop listening to Aunt Claudine and bitter Aunt Viv and bitter Grandma Shaniqua, who wants you to be single just like them. You do what it is you need to do to secure you the man that you want. And if that means you pick up some skills of cooking and cleaning and whatever, if that means putting your makeup on right, wearing that little cute dress, whatever it takes to attract that man, because not all men are the same. Stop listening to these bitter broads who don't know what the hell they're talking about. I refuse to listen to a person tell me what I need to do, and they ain't got shit themselves.
So she basically said, stop doing, and I'm paraphrasing, wifely duties for men in order to get the ring, because you're probably not going to do that, because why? You're already doing the things that a wife would do as a girlfriend, so why would he give you the ring? So basically the milk and the cow for free type of analogy. And so you went on to call her a feminist. And you talk about listening to bitter aunties and things like that. But my thing is this: as a 50, how old am I now? So as a 51-year-old woman, okay, I used to hear a lot of things from the older women, the women that were, I would consider auntie to me, and they would say things, and I'm like, well, that's really dumb. Well, I don't know if I agree with that type of stuff, right? Then as I got older, I said, aha. Now I see why those older women were saying those things, right? And so you say bitter, but I say wiser. Now, there are some older women that are bitter. I'm not going to say they're not. But to me, I think that those are words of wisdom from women who have probably been there and done that. You know what I mean? And some of the stuff that I would always hear is don't buy a man nothing. Now, when I was younger, I was like, well, that's kind of, I don't know. We should probably be buying each other stuff, which you should, right? Like if you in a marriage or something like that. Deanna's grandmother, her dad's mom, was sitting down at dinner one day. We just having a conversation and stuff. And she said, child, I wouldn't buy a man a Pepsi Cola. I was like, well, damn. She said, basically saying because it's out of order to be buying men, especially a man that's not your husband, stuff, right? And the other women say the child don't buy him no shoes because he gonna use those shoes to walk out of your life into another woman's life and all that other stuff. Now, some of that might be like old wives' tales type of urban legend type of thing. But I think the thing that we're supposed to extract from that is it's out of order for a woman to be taking care of a man in that way, especially a man, and I say especially a man that's not your husband. As I heard Farrakhan tell a story about when he was first dating Mother Khadijah so many years ago. He says he didn't have no money like that, and they were just out and about, and they were going to get some ice cream or something like that. She wanted some ice cream, and I don't think he had the money or something. And she goes, oh, don't worry, I'll pay for it. And he says, no, you cannot buy me no ice cream. He says, I would not allow her to pay nothing for me. So the other way around, because I know somebody, men are probably saying, well, a woman, it's all right for him to buy something. I'm not saying it's not all right for a woman to buy something for a man, but make sure that man is yours. And I say the same thing for men. Make sure that woman is yours, because some of y'all, and I'm saying this with love, are suckers. You're suckers, because you're out there buying these women things you should not be buying her if she ain't your wife. Y'all spending all this money on high-end purses, and y'all, whining and dining, and $300-400 dinners, and spending all this money paying a rent and all that other stuff. And I was like, that should be your wife. You know what I mean? Or at least a woman that you are looking to be a wife. I would listen, and this is just me being an older woman now and gone through a lot of things with men. And as an older woman, I'm saying now, stop and I agree with her. Stop doing wifely and husband things for people that are not your wives and your husbands. And that includes shacking up. I have done quite a bit of, I don't want to say quite a bit like I was just, running them in and out the door like that. It wasn't. But I've been married one time. I'm 51 years old. I'm going to be 52 in a couple days. 51 years old. I've been married once for 10 months. Well, we were together for some time. But most of the men I lived with, and I should not have been doing that. Now, if you ask me now, I'm not living with no Negro that ain't my husband. I don't think so. You know what I mean? Because especially at this age, you should not be doing that. I get it. We get lonely and I just want to be with somebody. But that somebody got to be my husband. And that's just where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? So when you say bitter, is it bitter or is it wisdom?
Well, here's what I say. It is common knowledge that if you're not married with somebody, you should not be living with them. This, oh, we're going to I wish I had a daughter that told me her and her boyfriend are going to go shack up together without being married. I would destroy him, and I would definitely destroy her. So that's not a new concept, like it's something new. That's all that liberalism in there that has said, oh, it's okay to do all this stuff, bring babies in here and do all this stuff. You know, it's bullshit, in my opinion, because everybody has a value of how they raise their children and how they're going to be as adults, whatever. Me as a grown man, I've never shacked up with a woman, never have done it, won't do it unless she's my wife. Now, she can live over there and I can live over here. Yeah, we're still going to fornicate or whatever you want to call it, but I'm not living up with her, because if I'm living with her, then why not just get married then? Why not just do that? You know, it's funny how as people, we pick and choose what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. You know, I have friends right now that shacked up with people, and then the relationship doesn't work out. She moved into his place, not married. Then he don't want her there no more, and now she's homeless. Do you see what I'm saying? With child. Homeless with child. Okay? These are things that's supposed to be taught at home. There's supposed to be a value system here. Everybody knows I have to pay my rent. I can't live somewhere for free. But somewhere in liberalism, oh Lord, I got children. Somebody please help. Even though I got all this PPP money or whatever it is and whatever, you know what I mean? When are we going to start taking responsibility for what we do? So I agree with you. You know, we shouldn't be doing those things, but I put the blame where it's supposed to be. Where is your transcendent family values? Where is your religious values? We're taught this stuff in church as well. Where's your religious values? But more so of anything else, where is your family values? That's what we should be asking ourselves.
Yeah. And I think too, you know, because when you were saying that too, I was like, well, who really should these women be listening to? Because those of y'all who go to church and follow the Bible does say, and I mean, this is just common sense if you ask me, the older women are supposed to be imparting wisdom on the younger women. And so when you see women like her who, you know, she doesn't look like she's terribly young, maybe she's not my age, but I think she's old enough to be able to say, you know, this is what I know, right? Because that's what we are supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be teaching the other ones. Listen, also it says in the Bible, you're supposed to use your experiences like bones, right? You put the experience as bones in the bag, and when you need to use them, you teach somebody, you tell somebody your testimony, and you also use it as a reminder for yourself. So the wisdom that we've acquired over these years through trial and error and, you know, all that other stuff, we are supposed to be teaching. So I tell you guys all the time about my daughter. My daughter, you know, lives with me, and she's going to live here as long as she wants to, as long as, you know, until she gets married. And I say that because there's a lot of times where not even just girls, but boys too, they, you know, got to get up out of mom and daddy house. And so the next thing they come along, you know, they shacking up with them, and, you know, and then it don't work out or whatever. And so I, you know, have taught my daughter and teaching her, as you said, and they say in the Nation of Islam, settle down to a good choice. Don't just go galloping off, you know, with any old thing. Vet this Negro, you know, make sure that he can take care of you if he take you up out of here. You know, I don't want you having to come back here, which is why my daughter don't have no children either. You're going to do it the right way. I'm not saying that I did it the wrong way per se, but her dad and I were not married, and we were very young, and we had a lot of bumps and bruises and trials and tribulations and things like that. And so that there comes the wisdom, right? Me being wise, I have taught her from what I have been through. Listen, this is how your mom did it. Don't do it the way I did it. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying, like, who are they supposed to listen to? And that woman is right. She's basically saying, stop doing wifely duties for your boyfriends. Now, I get it. And one thing I agree with Kevin Samuel said, he says, you got to already be a wife, right? So I agree with that. You have to be a wife mentally, physically, you know, in a whole bunch of other ways before you get in that relationship. You don't become a wife when you get married. You become you're already a wife, and then you just join in with a husband who's already supposed to be that before y'all get together. But doing these things, and I'm speaking from experience too, because I always tell y'all, I'm not getting that, because this is the one thing I hate about the internet, is you have a lot of men and women who get up here in front like, oh, well, I'm so perfect, and I've never done any of that. And I'll be, as my brother has a saying, also going through it. I've also gone through it. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel like it's right for me to get up here and try to tell y'all, I'm so no, I would never. I've just done everything perfect in my life. I have not, right? So I'm telling y'all, it is out of order for a woman, and I said this too, for a man to be doing wifely and husbandly things for people you are not married to. And I say this, and I said that to y'all before, as a 51, about to be 52-year-old woman, the next man that I am with has got to be my husband. We're not shacking up, and we ain't having sex or none of that until we are married. Now, that kind of sucks more for me than it does him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh my God, God forbid, But you know what I mean? At this age, you're not really in it for sex as much. You're in it for companionship and, those type of things. Now, when I was 20, I'd be like, nah, I need to see it first type of thing. Whatever,
Demetra, let me ask you a question. Do you try on shoes before you buy them?
You know what? Wait. This is a funny question that you asked me, because my daughter bought me a pair of shoes yesterday. Now, I'm one of those people that never buy shoes or from the internet, right? She bought me a pair of old school penny loafers, okay, for my birthday. I put the penny in and everything. I was so happy. I said, "Can you try these on and see if they fit?" They fit perfectly. So guess what I'm saying is, a lot of times when you are upright and then you kind of move in faith, then things just kind of work out. You know what I mean? And so that's where I'm at. And I want to say this too. You can talk to a lot of people who know and knew me, and they'll tell you that you would never hear my name in the streets like, damn, she was a loose girl. She out there with it. Nah, they'll tell. A lot of people are like surprised that for real, that I even have a child. Because it was like, you wasn't even on that page like that. You know what I mean? So
Wait a minute, Demetra. Weren't you the girl that would ditch school and go to Ramona to see your boyfriend?
My boyfriend. When I was a junior in high school, I got that boyfriend, okay? When I was 17, I got that boyfriend. You know what I mean? But the point that I'm making is, I wasn't no loose woman. And I'm not no loose woman now. So I've learned a lot of things by trial and error, and I try to teach from the things that I've learned. And I just think that, unfortunately, and it not just for women, it's for, and one thing, I don't know why Kevin Samuels is really coming to my mind today, but he did this one show, and he was so proud of it too. Okay. He says, I got clean D. He said the word, right? But he said, I got clean D. He says, I'm not out there sleeping with every and anything or whatever, contrary to what, how he died. I mean, maybe that was his main woman. I don't know. I don't want to judge him, man. He's not here. But he said, I got clean D. You know what I mean? I got to, so the point that I'm making is, he was saying that even as a man, you should be clean. You should not be hopping in and out of all these women's bed and all. Same thing for women, right? You want to be with somebody who shares the same values that you do. And like you said, in a lot of other cultures, they're like, nah, you can't sample the product, homie. You're going to get these 5 cows as a dowry or whatever, and then you get my daughter. You're not going to be, running around town with my daughter, and y'all hopping in and out of bed. Not because, especially in a lot of cultures, it's like virgins are like the top prize, right? And it said that no man, and I don't care how many women he slept with. I'm not trying to be double standard or chauvinistic in my thinking, but no matter how many women men have slept with, they don't want a woman that slept with many men. And I know that's terrible for me to say that, but it's just the truth. So, you know, there's a lot of to gain from other people's experiences.
Absolutely. My difference is this, is when you have these women and men that talk negatively about the other group of people because of their bad experiences. Because what if you're just a bad picker? So now you're going to put all that poison and venom out there. I've been in several bad relationships, but I can't blame that on Demetra and Walter and all the people that I know. I got to blame that on myself, you know, in some of those bad relationships. And that's what's happening to decimate this information out there that's advantageous to other people. You got to do it from a position of love, I would say. I always say this when I talk to young people and they say, oh, I've been in this relationship, this and that. Number one, stop watching movies. Number two, stop listening to Aunt Claudine, who saw The Color Purple, and she's making you think that all men are bad. All men are not bad. That is not true. Okay. A lot of people that love you and think that they're giving you good advice, they actually deflect their trauma onto you, and then you take it perception-wise as everybody, and you shouldn't do that. I always say this to young people when I talk to them, and let's use basic math. What is the common denominator in all of your relationships? You, nobody else. It's you. Yes, in some of those relationships, was the guy a douchebag? Yes. Disconnect him. This relationship, was this guy abusive? Yes, let's disconnect him. But was this guy that was working at McDonald's and going to college, he didn't have the clothes, he didn't have this, and he took a bus, he didn't have his own car, did you disconnect him? That would be you, not him. That would be you. So my point is, everybody has their own experiences and how they see certain things. Do not take somebody else's experience and think of it as if it's your own. It's not. You have to go out there and experience your own experience to come to that conclusion. Demetra tells me all the time, have you dated every Black woman in the world? No, but I would like to. And so, because I haven't dated every Black woman in the world, I can't come to a conclusion that Black women are lacking, that Black women don't have this, and so on and so forth. Young people, stop watching these movies that show Black men in a negative light. Tyler Perry movies, all this BS, stop it. Get out there and make your own decision for yourself. There are good men out there, but just like Kevin Samuels used to say all the time, what was wrong with that guy that was working a 9 to 5? No, you guys want the scammers, not all women, but you guys know what I'm talking about. There's a bunch of guys out there that are doing it the right way. It's the slow way, but it's the right way. What's wrong with them? No, you want those guys after you've made the mistakes that your aunts and them told you not to make, and you expect those guys in your middle 30s and 40s to come save the day.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same thing for men. You know, and like nobody has more of an ownership over being a horrible person. Everybody's kind of got their own, you know, stake in it. Like you said, you're the common denominator, things like that. And you know, as long as I've ever been on here, I don't really talk too bad about my exes unless my ex-husband, he was a douche. You know what I mean? And he just was. And, you know, but he was. But the other thing, though, is I can't say he was that and I didn't know that, right? There was a lot of wishful thinking. Okay, he said he gonna be acting right. He said he gonna be better. You know, and it's like he kept showing me that he says one thing, but he's doing another, right? So, but there's a saying, a fool learns from who? His own mistakes. A wise person learns from somebody else's mistakes. And so I say, yeah, you need to go and experience things on your own. But if somebody is giving you some information that's good, you might want to take that information, right? And like I said, I always thank God for my mother and a lot of the older women that that were in my life that maybe I didn't listen to it when I was younger. And most of the time I did. But that I'm older, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I get why they were saying that. Okay, I see why they moved the way they did. And, you know, all that other stuff. Like I said about my mom, My mom, and I always tell y'all she was stay-at-home mom and she raised 4 children and all that other stuff. But when my mom got older, she used to get them dudes the blues. And I'm like, damn, my mom is like razor blazing lemon juice. And then, I would like one day I had a conversation with her. And she was like, just what's out there now. You know what I mean? She almost kind of had that I'm going to do before it gets done to me. Not that she was doing anything horrible, but she got to a point to where she was very closed off with men. Yeah, I'll go on a date. And I think some of that, she was like, okay, I'm hopeful that this is going to be a turn into something type of thing. But then when she would start seeing little red flags, she's like, all right, he getting the Saturday night special treatment. You know what I mean? But then as I got older, I was like, I kind of see why she moved that way, because a lot of people, not even just women, when you've gone through stuff in your life and you've gotten hurt a lot, you do get to the point to where you're just closed off and you're like, I bet it won't be me next time. My mom had this book. I can't remember her name. I read it years ago. And the name of the book was I'm Not Going to Be the Same Fool Twice. And it was basically talking about, nah, sucker, I'm not going to keep getting into these same, relationships, with men. And, I'm going to be wiser. It was a fictional book, but the premise was I'm going to be wiser next time, right? So we are supposed to be wiser. And so at this age in life, I don't think I'm going to die tomorrow. I feel like I'll be here a long time. I love being where I'm at now because my eyes are so much more open and my mind is so much more open. And I was explaining this to my daughter about a couple of weeks ago. I said, a lot of times people are afraid to set their intentions with people because you think you're going to run them off. Well, if I tell him that, I'm not really this way or this is what I want and don't want, he might not like that and he may not want to hang out with me. And I'm like, good. If he doesn't want, and I'm not saying you got some silly expectations like, oh, you must pick me up in a Rolls Royce every time I see you and you must bow down on one. I ain't talking about that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about everybody should have things that are non-negotiable, right? I just think they should. But I think they should be more characteristic driven and not materialistic driven to some degree, right? Because I don't advocate a man or a woman, especially at our big grown age, getting with somebody who don't have nothing going on for themselves. And at this day and age, when I say nothing going on for themselves, I mean a job. Just have a job, where you can just take care of yourself to, whatever the case is. But I think everybody should have non-negotiables. And with that, Donovan, I'm going to ask you in the next 2 minutes, what are your non-negotiables? And I'm not talking about, okay, well, I don't want to tell you what not to say, but so what's your non-negotiables? Three.
That's kind of tough because it don't
have to have anything to do with her. It could be like your standards or just anything in general in a relationship, whether it's with you or with her.
Well, number one, my non-negotiables, don't tell me what I know and you don't know anything about it. Don't tell me what I already know. Number one, don't do that. Number two, with GPS, you guys know GPS was created by a woman, right? Because they got tired of like us asking for directions. I mean, the men wouldn't ask for directions. So, but that's kind of hard because, to be serious, my number one non-negotiable is this: playing your role. Do not tell me how to be a man and you're a woman. Totally non-negotiable. I'm not going to listen to anything you have to say because I'm going to be a man. Not that I'm an expert being a man. I'm going to be a man the best way I know how and from the values I was taught. Unfortunately, I wasn't raised in your father's house. So how he raised a man and your brothers are two different things. So that's my number one non-negotiable thing. Do not tell me how I should be a man. Number two, do not kick my animals and mistreat my animals. Number three, non-negotiable. coming home to an unclean house. And when I mean unclean, I don't mean spotless, military spit shine. What I mean by a clean house is it's serviceable. You could go, I don't care if you got 7, 12 kids running around. It shouldn't be filthy. That's my number 3.
So my number 3 is respect. You have to respect me, and I'm going to respect you, right? So what I mean by respect, and that's kind of really, I think that's a no-brainer, but basically, don't do something to me that you wouldn't want me to do to you. You know what I mean? The other thing is lying. I can't deal with lying, because as hard as it is to tell the truth, sometimes it's even harder to be lied to, right? That I can't do. And the other thing too, I would say, in relationships or your foster relationship, we should breed an environment for people to feel like they can tell the truth. As I give y'all a story, my good friend, he said one of his woman wanted to know the truth about something. You know, I think it was, you have feelings for somebody else, and he was like, deep down inside, he was like, tell her no. But she kept saying, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not gonna be mad with you. And so he was like, all right, yes. So the next thing he knows, she goes to the child support court, tries to ream him for like $1,600 a month. It didn't work, but he didn't see his child for 30 days because it took him through all the nonsense. And he says, and so D, when y'all tell us to tell y'all the truth, he said, we know we should, but we know what we do is consequences behind it. It was like, well, I don't know that she was wrong for that, but just, and my third one is, I can't deal with people who are closed-minded. And having an open mind can go for anything, trying something new. Okay. I ain't asking you to eat squid ass or nothing like that. But you know what I'm saying? But try something outside of chicken nuggets. You know what I mean? Like, grow up a little bit. Hey, honey, I like to go outside and exercise and run. Maybe you don't need to run with me because I don't like to run. Maybe we can go for a walk. I don't want to walk. I just don't understand. That's nails to a chalkboard to me. People who are closed-minded, who are in that box. They'll look out the box. Nah, I'm good. I'm going to stay right. I can't do that. Listen, I'm not terribly adventurous, like I'm going off the grid a lot, but sometimes I do, right? So it's hard for me to be with a man who was just like, I don't want to try that. I'm not going to do that. Oh, why would I do that? No, I'm not going to. I've had enough of that in my life. I believe that I deserve a man who is like, all right, honey, bet. I'm game. Let's try it. Or you want to go rent a convertible for the weekend and drive to the beach? Yeah, let's do it. Or whatever it is, so. And I have a couple of more, nothing major, but those the disrespect, lying, and being closed-minded, I will not. No. So anyway, that's all we got, y'all. Sorry for coming on here late and everything. With Donovan and I had some things to do. But we'll be back here with Walter Wealth Wednesdays. Donovan, what say you before we get out of here?
Well, I say Donovan was in court. And once again, ladies, when you are in court, I just want to give this quick tip out to the ladies. It's a legal tip. And you are paying a lawyer. Do not speak to the judge. That's what you're paying the lawyer for. You will become your own worst enemy. And once again, I was in court today, and this lady could not even get it together. And she was even surprising her lawyer. So if you are paying for a lawyer, that is your mouthpiece. Anything you got to say it to the lawyer, not to the judge, not to the court, whatever, because this lady looked bad, y'all. I'm talking bad in court today. Hopefully this will be the end of my round. I got 2 more court dates coming up, and I will be more talkative because everybody's been asking me, Donovan, you don't do your podcast as much. Because I'm a talkative person, it was advised by legal representation that I need to stay off of the social media as much as possible because I might inadvertently say something that could be used against me in court. So now that these things are winding down, I just want to say the opinions that you guys heard today is Demetra's and Demetra's alone. Mine was the only one that really mattered. But no, it was a great show. But you guys, please be mindful. The midterm, or not the midterms, the primaries is starting to gear up again. And once again, they have rolled out the black bootlicks. Kamala Harris seemed to be all over the place. And notice she is quick to say what she'll do for other groups, but is silent when it comes to black people. Because remember, she said, let's be clear. I know you don't think that I'm going to sit out here and do something specifically just for black people. No, not going to do it. So you guys be wary of that. For those of you guys who fell for it the first time, please don't fall for this the second time. Great show today.
Basically, what Kamala said is kiss my Converse like show enough. Okay. That's what I think I'm going to get a t-shirt that say that. It's going to be her. Kiss my Converse like show enough. You know what? Donovan, we need to go on and print that up. All right, y'all. So we love and appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. If y'all want to help the channel, there's many ways to do it. Like, share, subscribe, donate, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, become a member, and all of that. Anyway, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Wealth Wednesdays with Walter. Love you so much. Peace.